Alright, I've had a strange few days trying to set this thing up and getting the software loaded on it. So I don't dare change the software. So why I'm saying this is because the scrolling pattern there, that's unimportant. It's the 4 outer LEDs that we're interested in. The 2 on the top, on the outsides, the left and the right, and the 2 on the bottom that are lit up right now on the left and the right. And this thing is kind of washed out, but top ones are green and the bottom ones are red, so they represent high and low. Okay, so what we did was we took 2 inputs on an AVR and we wired them together here. So one there and one there. I was originally gonna have them separate with the analog comparator plus and minus both available, but I got really tired of soldering, so I said, you know what, I could just do this in software for now. So this is what I'm doing in software. I am taking the positive input to the analog comparator and I'm setting it up to the band gap voltage, which I think is 1.2 volts or something like that. Okay, but that same pin right there is also connected to, a regular GPIO pin register via a Schmitt trigger input. So it should either read high or low at all times, and it should be Schmitt triggered. Alright, okay, so here's what we've got. We've got the red one, that's the one that's closest to us. And then we got the green one, and these are the 4 LEDs that we're going to pay attention to. And so I set this up so that this red is opposite this green, and this red is opposite this green. So the reason originally was because I wanted to see neither of them lit if it was between the GPIO's V input high or the band gap, which I'm eventually going to make adjust to V input low for another device. So it's a long story, but I'll use the reference voltage for both high and low later. But right now, I was going to use the AVR's V input high for this LED and V input low for that. The opposite of it, right? Because when you read the register, it doesn't tell you if it matches V input high or V input low. It just tells you what it read it as, whether the Schmitt trigger has been crossed in one direction or whether it's been crossed in the other. So that's the reason I wanted the band gap as well, so I could get a better idea of the actual voltage there if it's in between V input high and V input low. That's a bad explanation. Anyway, so I've got 3 pins, and those 3 pins are right here, and the one on the right side is positive, the one on the left side is ground, and the one in the middle is our input, like that. And so I think maybe I set that up like I was planning to. So now what we see is it's reading red and red, so that means that the pin register is reading low. That's what this one means. That's what this one means. And the analog comparator output says that it's less than the band gap voltage. Okay. Now, it's not connected to anything. Right now it's just floating. And I guess touching it doesn't change anything. Oh, it does a little bit. Oh no, really? No, the band gap. Okay, so if I touch it, you can see both the 2 opposite LEDs are on at the same time, even though they represent those 2. The pin is reading. Oh, why is this so confusing? It's weird. It's set up like this to match that. Okay, so the 2, I didn't test that before. So if I touch it, you see it lights up the green one on that side, and this one gets dimmer. Okay, so when we look at that, that's saying the input is greater than the band gap sometimes, and the input is less than the band gap sometimes. And yet, at the same time, the pin register, the digital input, is still reading low. Okay, well, that actually helps my demonstration. Cool. Okay, so if I touch that, then we see both of them light up. Interesting. So that makes sense if you're thinking about an analog comparator, and I've probably got 60 hertz noise, voltage fluctuation, and if I touch that, then that couples into it, and it might be just enough to cross over the band gap voltage. Sure, it makes sense. I don't know why they both read low when there's nothing connected. I'm pretty sure they should be floating. But anyways, so the other part of the demonstration, this is the obvious part. If I connect it high, then they both go high. And if I connect it low, obviously, since it's already there, it doesn't change anything. Hi there, kitty cat. What are you up to? You wanted to be in this, didn't you? Hi there. I had to adjust it for the lighting, I'm sorry. Okay, so that makes sense, I think, for the most part. This is interesting. I'm glad that showed up. You can't really tell, but I can see it with my eyes that this LED is getting dimmer when I do that. So it's just fluctuating back and forth between the threshold voltage of the analog comparator. Okay, so now we're going to take that out, and we're going to put this in. High precision potentiometer, right? And there we go. Okay, so wherever it's set right now, hi there. You really want some attention? I left you some dinner right there. You can have some potatoes. I know you like potatoes. Okay, what was I saying? Okay, so right now it's reading that the GPIO is high, the digital, and yet it's low at the same time. How can that be? And yet the analog comparator is reading high, not low. So we seem to be toggling around without an antenna. I'm not touching it this time. We seem to be toggling past the threshold voltages necessary for the Schmidt trigger, right? How could that be? So let's adjust the potentiometer a little bit here. Oh, sorry. Okay, let's adjust the potentiometer a little bit here, which is a little bit hard for me to do. To align. Why is the lighting so dark? Because the glare from the other light was way too much. Okay, there we go. So if I turn it down, it should eventually just turn to the red one. Okay, there, it's just the red one now. Oh, interesting, but we still have the analog comparator is... Oh, interesting. I'll have to think about that one. This is what I was gonna point out, though. What I showed you right when I plugged it in, was now if I turn the potentiometer up, did it do it? Yes. No, that's the band gap. Okay, so we passed the band gap voltage, but it's still reading GPIO is low. Okay, we keep turning it up. And keep turning it up. And keep turning it up. And keep turning it up. Remember, ignore the moving ones in the middle. They're not helpful right now. What's going on? Oh, there we go. Okay. So we passed the band gap. That's the GPIO digital threshold. Okay. Right. But it's not toggling. Why? Because it's a Schmidt trigger, right? Once it switches, now I have to turn it way down until it goes again, right? Okay, so I'm turning it down, But yeah, look at that. It's not Schmidt triggering at the bottom. And you see if I turn it just slightly, I can kind of dim it a little bit too. Here and there. And actually this is like a quarter of a turn on the potentiometer before it fully switches to low. But now that it's fully switched to low, if I turn it again, if I turn it again, if I turn it again, and I turn it again, it takes almost a full circle to get it to go high again. Okay? So that's Schmidt trigger, that makes sense, but it's like it's not Schmidt triggering on the low side. So I don't know, is that because of the things that are the other internal peripherals? Are all the inputs like that? They don't Schmidt on the low side, but they do on the high side? They don't. No hysteresis on the low side, but hysteresis on the high side? I don't know. But see, it doesn't make sense because, I don't know, it just doesn't make sense. I gotta turn it again. Almost a full turn. Let's see, almost there. There we go. Let's see. Hysteresis. Very sharp. Does not flicker on the top side. Flickers almost a full turn down, then it starts flickering. And I can turn it back up just a tiny bit. We have not crossed that threshold again where it latches. See, so I can turn it up and down and up and down. And then, let's see, we get it full red. That's almost a whole nother turn. Okay. Now that we're there, what happens? If I turn a little bit more, nope, doesn't start turning green yet. Okay, now we're almost a full turn. That's a full turn, I think. And now it switches to positive again. So I start going down, almost a full turn. Now they're flipping back and forth. And a little bit further. Now it's latched. Am I missing something? Oh, that's about a full turn. Now it's latched. Now it's about halfway in between. Now it's latched. But that kind of defeats the purpose of the Schmidt trigger, doesn't it? If there's a halfway in between where it does that. It's like it's two separate Schmidt triggers. It's like it's one for high and one for low. I don't know, I can't explain it. But, okay, like I said, I have had some very weird problems programming this chip. And I don't think you're going to be able to see it, but it looks to me, oh, you can. It looks to me almost like it's been, what's it called? Cleared, lasered off, you know, and then redone. Almost looks like that. So I don't know if these chips are the thing or what, but I eventually got it programmed. So I don't know if all AVRs are like this or what, but that seems very strange. The Schmidt trigger aspect of it. Maybe all Schmidt triggers are like that, and I just didn't realize it, but I thought that was exactly what they were designed to avoid. So I don't know, it's strange.